Hey everybody, welcome back. Monday night, I love hanging out with you guys. Monday nights have quickly turned into one of my favorite nights of the week. And tonight's topic is juicy. It is definitely juicy. Go ahead and comment your city and state so I can shout out the first few people who are in here. I'm going to go through a couple of announcements and then we are going to dig straight into today's conversation. I have some people who are watching on Instagram, but hopefully they will come over to YouTube so that your girl can get taken care of, if you know what I mean. Thank you, YouTube, for taking care of content creators and incentivizing us, because this is difficult to do for free all the time for 7 years straight. But I will continue. I did it for free, but look, I'm going to do the work. It's nice to get compensated. So those of you who chose to come over to YouTube, I am super grateful that you did that. It means a lot to me and my family, who I am trying to take care of. And in return, I will give you the absolute best that I can. So those of you who can, please come over to YouTube. Click the link in my story and you guys can join on YouTube. And I have a special surprise for you guys, the ones who are on YouTube. You guys will have access to come on camera. So if you have a lot to say and you felt like I left anything out of today's conversation, you are welcome at the end of the show to come on camera. This is only available to those of you who have come over to YouTube. So thank you so much for coming over. All right, guys, let me get through a couple pieces of a couple announcements and then we can get right into it. I think I did something funky with the chat. Somebody do me a favor, type a comment in the chat so I can make sure it's working, because I switch things around and I want to make sure I can still see the comments despite how it looks on my end, okay? So if you're on YouTube, please drop a comment. You could just put your city and state if you'd like, and I want to see if I can see it. But if I can't see it, I guess I won't. How would I know, right? All right, so we'll just see in a second if I can see the comments. All right. Anyway, first things first, my name is Yonci. This is my channel, Chasing Yonci. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for joining in. I really pride myself on trying to be unbiased. I am not pro-woman. I am not pro-man. I am pro-truth. I am pro-healthy conversations, and I think that everybody's voice should be heard, and we should be able to come to a solution that is good for everybody. So I am anti-pandering. I am all for speaking the truth, but doing it in love, because nobody cares how much you know if they don't first know how much you care. I don't see, oh, you know what? Maybe this is it. Okay, there we go. Good Lord, there was some drop down button that I guess I had clicked and I couldn't see. Thank God I chose to click the little button. I was like, where is everybody? Okay, there we go, you guys. I was hoping it was just me, and it was. There's a ton of comments in here. Shout out to Link. Hey Link, you're always so sweet and supportive. Thank you so much. Let's see. We got Will Washington in the house. We got Mr. Healthy. Oh, hey. Hey, let's see, Javon. We have Jazz in the house. We have Christine in the house. We have, let's see, Han Hess in the house. Sorry, y'all, I'm trying to read YouTube names. We have Febby. Oh, hey, girl, hey. We have a name in characters that I can't read. She said I have to lock the kids out of my room so I can listen. We got, wait, Link is in France? Whoa, I never knew that, Link. Okay, then we have Virginia in the house. Another Virginia in the house. We got people saying hi to each other. I love it. We become a little family over here. We got Delaware in the house. Let's see. We got, who else? Did I miss anybody? Oh, we got Size here. Hey, girl, hey. That's my girl. We got Baronessia. Oh, this is Knives Baron and IG. Hey. We got Leslie. We got Han. I think I said Han already. Okay. Oh, we got Nick Hayes in the house. Hey, Nick Hayes. That's a buddy of mine. We got Kaya. All right, so all the shout outs, y'all. I don't want to be that annoying person who reads the shout outs, but I do want to reward the people who have come early and jumped in. So, whoo, y'all. Okay. Hilarious. Link is over here trying to find the single that I posted last Friday. That's hilarious. And then we have Leslie in the house and Charles. Hey, big bro. Okay, guys, so really quickly, we're going to do some little church announcements. First things first, I have a book that if you would like to get, you can get it through my website, chasingyonci.com. The first book is for women. It's First Date 101, a man's guide to dating a man, because who knows men better than men? So this is all the tea on what men have told me rather, about what they like to dislike on first dates. So I compiled it into a neat, easy to read guide, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback about that. First Date 101. The second one is a book for men. And it's funny because a lot of women buy this book too, but it's Why Women Love A-Holes. And as I always say, it's a little clickbaity, because the reality is that we don't love the a-hole per se. We love the different things that they have mastered, okay? So we don't like the a-holes though. We don't like the actual a-holes, but we like a lot of the stuff that they do. So it's a book to show you how to glean the good stuff and wring out the toxicity and apply it as a good guy, okay? All righty. So that is my announcement number one. Second thing, and like I said, guys, I'm going to try to make this really, really, really quick. Thursday nights, I have Bible study, okay? So everybody who is on my email list who has chosen the drop-down weekly Bible study, you get announced, you get the link. I'm tongue-tied because Nick just bought a badge, okay? Or a super chat. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Thank you. Thursday nights, you will receive an email with the Zoom login link if you are on my email list and you have checked the drop-down option of weekly Bible study. And I always say this, we are human beings. Part of us is human, flesh, part of us is being. So most people don't even know anything about the being side, the spiritual side, and so we are going through and unpacking what you need to know about living your best life as a human who is a being, all right? Because the being part is what's going to last forever. All right, the next thing is one-on-one coaching. If you guys enjoy my content and you're like, you know what, I want to pick your brain, I want to talk with you directly, I do have one-on-one coaching still available. And as I mentioned last week, I am now offering group coaching. I'm still rolling it out, still figuring out how I'm going to set it up, because it's going to have a certain number of people required before we go ahead and move forward with it. So I'm still figuring out the kinks, but just know it's there. And so if you are interested in that, but you're not able to one-on-one coaching, make sure you slide in my DM. All you have to do is DM me the word help on Instagram, and I come to the rescue. The next thing is, we have like 60 seconds left of announcements, guys, so hang in there. Friday night singles, as I mentioned with Link. So I started doing this fun thing on Friday nights where I just bring people onto my page. So I'm using my platform right now. I'm at like 13,000 on Instagram, and I am bringing singles up who are ready to mingle. My only requirement is that they be single, like nobody else thinks that they're in a relationship with you, that part, single. And then from there, anybody who wants to slide in their DM can, because they're on Instagram. So after that, I've been posting the clips on YouTube. So after this show, you can go back and watch the 3 that I posted. And it's just going to get more and more fun as we go along, you guys. The more stuff I'm able to put together on my end from a business standpoint, the more things I can do for you guys. So that's a nice little segue for Patreon. If you want to become a patron and sponsor me for as low as $5 a month, the money goes a very long way, because it allows me to delegate other things to other people so that I can focus on making the best content and the best experience for you guys. I'm still holding out hope on the tour, okay? There is a nationwide tour that I am wanting to do, and so obviously that stuff takes coins, so we're working this all out, okay, between projects and things like that and sponsors. Okay, Let's see. The console. Okay, people are talking about the group meeting. Let's see. I can't wait to speak on what she said. I know. I'm about to get into it. The very last thing is, if you're not following me on Instagram, please do that, because that is how you can keep up to date with everything that's happening. So all of the latest and greatest is on Instagram, and here on YouTube, I just post, my long video content. Okay. But all my impromptu live streams and the posts and everything, you'll get daily drips. I do multiple posts a day and my stories, okay? All right, guys, so I think everybody has settled in. Sorry, I'm dropping stuff over here. Everyone settled in. Hopefully everybody has commented their city and state so I could shout you out. All right, so just like last week, I had to do a really big disclaimer, okay? And those of you who are on Instagram, please come over to YouTube. Please. The link is in my bio. Okay, so just like last week, I had to do a huge disclaimer because I understand that a lot of things can be very triggering, and people throw that word around a lot kind of in a derogatory way, like, oh, you're triggered, but it's a real thing. Okay, it is the equivalent to I used the example, and I don't even know what live I was on, but you know those cement blocks when in a parking lot that keeps your car from going too far forward. I don't know what those things are called, but it's as though you are walking and you tripped over one of those things. That's what being triggered is like. Or even better, it's like when you don't have a belt in your belt loop and you walk by a door handle and it catches you. You're getting triggered. It's very unsettling. It's very disruptive, and it makes you act in a way that you wouldn't normally. I'll just put it that way. Okay, so let's see. Oh, San Diego, you on the west side. Hey. So even if you don't think that you were triggered by the video, there's a very good chance that you are. And so that's why I'm formally taking the time to ask you to come to this conversation with an open heart. All right? So listen so that you could walk away with information that you did not previously have. You do not have to change your mind. That is not part of having an open mind. It just means that you are aware of what's being said with an open mind. Someone says they can't hear, you got to turn the volume up, my love. Turn the volume up. So can somebody type that to her in the comments? She says she can't hear. Just type that she needs to turn her volume up. Okay, so come in with an open mind. There are two different sides of the argument that people have stated, okay? And that's not just on my page, but it's on other people's pages. I've looked to see where this is posted also, okay? The first school of thought is that a man's actions in life should be compartmentalized. Thank you, Link. Okay? It should be compartmentalized. So one half of the people are saying, look, his personal life, what he did as a civil rights activist, specifically speaking of Dr. Martin Luther King, they were saying those two things should be kept separate, okay? That's why I use the term compartmentalized. Everything is put in separate compartments, and they're not overflowing. The other side of the argument is that you cannot separate. It would be like, so this side of the argument is like a bowl. Everything gets poured into a bowl and it all comes together. Or like string of Christmas lights. Okay, string of Christmas lights. If one bulb goes out, all of them goes out. The other one would be like a circuit board. One could, what is it called? One of the circuits can get flipped or whatever. I don't know the technical term. But the other ones will still work, okay? So I need all of you, there are quite a few on here. I need all of you to type open mind, because I want to see a verbal, cosign that you're going to come in, that you're going to at least attempt to just listen. Because the worst case scenario is you listen to the other side and you walk away after understanding their side and still hold your same opinion. There's no risk, right? You came in with your opinion, you left with your opinion. All I'm asking is during the middle point to have an open mind. And if you guys are watching on Instagram, please, please, please come on YouTube, because YouTube has sponsors and ads and things. So I actually get paid, full disclosure, I get paid per views on YouTube. I don't on Instagram. So I'm not even going to try to fake the funk. If you guys go watch over there, that's why I made it really ugly on this side and made it really pretty on YouTube, try to incentivize you guys. So just click the link in my bio so you can come on over, okay? Sorry to the YouTube people, I have to keep giving disclaimers for IG. All right. So I love this. Shout out to Mike Perez. Shout out to Mike Perez. My son graduated from high school last Thursday, and Mike stood in for my Bible study, and I absolutely love it. It's not his first time leading the class. So thank you so much to Mike. I'm sure it was amazing. Let's see. Be respectful of people's perspectives. Yes, and that's something else I'm going to say. Thank you, Christine, because I think I didn't write that down, but I wanted to say that. The reason why I love using things that have happened publicly is because everyone is privy to the information, and it makes for a very good teaching moment. And so one of the things that breaks down communication big time is when people are disrespectful. Okay? The irony is that a big portion of this conversation, if not 99.9% of it, is about respect. All right, so let's be respectful. I can disagree with you and be very kind and be very loving. I don't have to agree, but I also don't have to call you out of your name. I don't have to use disparaging comments and things like that, okay? So let's please do that. So let's see, we've got a bunch of open minds. It looks like about 20% of people commented. So hopefully the rest of you guys are really willing to come with an open mind. And if you are, please comment open mind. Thank you, Shantae. She says I look good on her TV screen. Thank you, girl. Okay, hope it's not too many pixels. So we got a lot of open minds. Okay, perfect, you guys. So here we go. The key to productive conversation is to understand the other person. And so the first part of what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain both sides. The problem is that in the past, when I have tried to explain where someone was coming from, people heard, oh, Yonci's defending this person. Yonci is co-signing this person. Yonci is saying this person is right. And that's not the case. I can explain to somebody where the other person came from so that they can understand that does not mean I'm co-signing. So let's just say, for example, one kid is pestering a kid in class, pushing the back of a seat, pushing the back of a seat, pushing the back of a seat, and eventually the kid gets so pissed off, turns around, and throws his juice box at his head, okay? Now, I'm not condoning the behavior if I say I understand why little Johnny picked up his Capri Sun and chucked it at dude's head. I'm still going to tell Johnny, hey, there's a better way. Go get the teacher next time. Ask to be moved. Get a different seating assignment. But I can still teach and show people what triggered the other person in the hopes that we don't keep triggering each other, okay? So many people have great things to say on social media, but their delivery sucks. And when your delivery stinks, no one listens. It's so important. And I had this conversation earlier today. Somebody was saying, oh, what does it matter, the delivery? What does it matter, the delivery? And I guarantee you, if I had gotten out of pocket with them, they would have immediately realized the importance of delivery. No one wants to feel disrespected by a conversation. And it's not about somebody being overly sensitive. It's just human nature. That's the next thing I want you guys to comment in the comment box. Human nature. This is something that's very important that we're going to be going over that you absolutely must understand. And I understand that just like last week, I'm giving a very long intro, but this intro is important. I promise you, if you skip any of these pieces, these prerequisites, you are really going to struggle to get what I believe are gems that are going to be dropped tonight, okay? And I'm not tooting my own horn. This is stuff that I feel that I have been blessed with, and I'm just trying to pass it on. All right, so we have, he's so silly, he's a human nature, Michael Jackson. So human nature, human nature, human nature, human nature. And yes, Christine, she said everyone has a different temperament, and it's going to react to things differently. One person might not take offense, the other person might go home crying. You don't know who you're dealing with. All right, so human nature is the next comment that I want you to write. So you have an open mind, and we are going to learn a little bit about human nature because the end goal is to have productive conversation. Who wants to talk just for the sake of talking? That's ridiculous. If I'm going to take time to spend my breath and my energy, I want to walk away feeling like something was gleamed by that interaction with the other person. I learned from them, they learned from me, or best case scenario, we both learn from each other. I don't like unproductive conversations. So I would imagine that if you guys are taking your time to get on a live stream like this, you want to have better communication too. That is a foundation to healthy relationships. And if you can understand what I'm saying in this live stream, you can apply it to your romantic relationships. This is free of charge, okay? I charge a lot to coach this stuff, and I'm about to give it for free. So take the principles out. The very first fact that you need to have, and if anyone wants to be my scribe, that would be amazing. A scribe is a person who basically takes notes in the comment section. It also helps me with the timestamps when I'm putting them in later. So if anyone wants to do that, my scribe Okay, I don't usually do shout outs in the middle of the episode, but because it's Little Rock and that's where my people are from, I got to shout out Little Rock, Arkansas. Hey, Lynette. All right, so the first note for those who want to describe, men are wired to need respect. Okay, that is how they are wired. The same way fish are wired to need water. It's not an option. It's not a preference. They need it. Okay, so men are wired to need respect. It's the battery that goes in their back that propels them forward emotionally. Okay, women are wired to need love. Again, this is like mammals needing to be on land. If you put a mammal underwater, they're not going to survive for very long at all. Men are wired to require respect. Women are wired to require love. Thank you, my love. Thank you, Shantae, for being the scribe. Okay. Oh, thank you, Knives Baron, too. All right. So, a lot of scribes tonight. Thank you. I usually have to beg to get one. So thank you, guys. Here's the thing about respect, though. Okay, because I said men need respect. The problem is respect is commanded. And you might hear the word command and think, I command you to get... No, that's not command. There are multiple definitions of the word command. And command means to secure. Okay, and you secure respect by your actions. I can garner the respect. Respect is a feeling, and it's also an action. Let me explain. I don't have to feel respect, but I can show you respect. I could think you're the biggest ignoramus on the planet, but if you are over me in rank, you're my boss, I can show you respect. What you feel inside, what is commanded through actions, is respect on an emotional level. Man, the way that firefighter ran into that burning building and saved that, ooh, I respect him. Ooh. The firefighter didn't have to make you do anything. He just earned the respect by his actions. Are you guys with me so far? I love this. You guys are awesome scribes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, let me know if my mic is too hot. It seems like it's a little bit loud. Okay, so let's see. Got my notes here. So you cannot demand or forcefully take respect from someone. Okay, so if a woman, let me know if I'm going too fast, you guys. I'm about to throw a lot of information at you, and I promise it'll all make sense. If a man treats a woman without love, remember the woman is wired to need love, then her image of him, oh, so sweet, Mike. Her image of him is shattered. Okay? Do you guys remember when you found something out about your parents and you're like, oh, it like something that wasn't good? Because you know when you're little, you just idolize your parents. You're like, oh, they can do no wrong. And then you find out like, wait, daddy went to jail for stealing, or mom, whatever. Mom lost her virginity at this age. I don't know, just whatever. Fill in the blank. Something that like shocked you and shook you and just took them from that godlike deity down to like human level, and you're like, oh, okay. That's just real life. Actions have consequences, and when a woman looks up to a man in respect, it's shattered when he treats her in an unloving way. Even if she simply perceives he's being unloving. Catch what I'm saying here. Intent doesn't matter. If the end result is that she doesn't feel loved, her respect is shattered, okay? She does not consciously say, I'm not going to respect him anymore. It's like saying, I got thrown into a pool of water and I'm just not going to get wet. I'm not going to get wet. No. It just happens. You don't feel loved as a woman. You lose respect for the man. Okay, the reason she loses respect is because she doesn't feel safe anymore. A lot of times when we hear the word respect, I think we think of like this choice of being, having attitude, like, oh, you're just being disrespectful. This is not a conscious thing. She doesn't feel safe anymore. Okay? It's like if you have someone who's supposed to be guarding your house and you hired some top-notch security and you see this guy is fumbling with like trying to put his, what is this called? Like, I don't know what you put in, like the little, whatever that thingy is. He can't even put that thing in. You be like, ugh. It's not about looking down on him as a person. You're just like, I don't feel safe. Or if a little scrawny dude beat him up with one punch and he's knocked out, you're like, I thought you were security. Okay? So that's what we say. She loses respect, meaning she doesn't think that you're capable of doing your job anymore. The other thing is, she says to herself, if you can't control yourself because you did whatever you did, then how are you going to protect me? You're so unstable that you can't keep yourself under control. How is it that you're going to protect me? Okay, Shantae says, I didn't feel emotionally safe in my last relationship. I lost respect and then eventually left. A lot of people go through that. When she doesn't feel safe, she thinks, when she sees the actions that causes her to lose respect for him, she says, man, if you can do this to me and you claim you love me, you must not love me the way you think you do, or you must not know what love is. So she doesn't feel safe. The highest need a woman has is to feel protected, provided for. Okay? So she doesn't feel protected. It's very hard. It's extremely hard for a woman to force herself to show respect when she doesn't feel respect. Okay? That's like me. If somebody is very disrespectful to me, I want to get ghetto with them. I want to get, I can go there. It's very hard when I feel disrespected to choose the high road and show respect. Okay? Are we all on the same page? So, here's the unfortunate irony. You guys are awesome right now. You're awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, Christine. Okay. So, here's the vicious cycle. The man does something unloving. It shows the woman he's not worthy of her respect. So then she begins to act disrespectfully. See where I'm going here? Okay? She's now triggered to act disrespectfully. If she's not aware of what's happening, that's just by default human nature. So type that in. Human nature. This is why I said we're talking about human nature. I'm not condoning human nature. I'm explaining human nature. Rising above and being the better person means I understand what human nature is, but I'm going to override human nature. So let's really clarify. Okay? I'm explaining human nature. I'm not justifying the actions. Lord help me. Okay? Those of you who are on Instagram, please, please, please watch on YouTube. Same channel name, and the link is in my story. It really helps me a lot as a content creator if you watch it on that platform versus Instagram. So thank you in advance for coming over to YouTube. All right, guys, so you ready for the contrast? Because I have to balance things out. Men, you have been so patient because the first 10 minutes have been about women. Okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you, Javon. Okay. When a man feels disrespected, you ready for this, ladies? Because the guys had to put their big boy pants on. This is your part. When a man feels disrespected, it's very hard for him to show love. You see that? When a man feels disrespected, it goes against his wiring to show love. So do you see how this is a vicious cycle? He does something that's unloving, knocks her off of her safety block, so she feels like she's not loved. She feels this is not respect, so she begins to act unconsciously disrespectful. When he feels disrespected, he acts unloving and disrespect and unloving and disrespect and unloving and disrespect. You see the toxic cycle? Toxic cycle. What B Simone said is considered extremely disrespectful. Saying that a man is not great if he was not great in all areas of his life. That felt extremely disrespectful to many people, man and woman alike. Okay? Now, the reason why I wanted to explain this before I play the video, because I'm about to play the video for those of you who didn't see it, I need you to now be able to look at this video with a new pair of eyes. She felt unloved. She was provoked, and her actions came out disrespectfully. Do you see this? She gave a scenario in which she said a man is getting praised and glorified for being great when he wasn't great to his own family. She said he's not great. The pain that she was feeling was expressed, and if you watch, which you're going to see on the clip, she literally says, I'm triggered. She got extremely animated. She got very agitated. And the problem is, and I know I said play the clip, the problem is that when we are highly agitated women and we get demonstrative, it's very hard to read that situation as a hurt woman. You look like the angry woman. No one comforts and coddles and holds and comforts the angry woman. Do you see why it is so important for us to understand energy? Because if she had come out and said, I am really hurting, I don't know how to deal with this, there would have been a hugely different response. I am not attacking B Simone. I am using the situation as a great teaching tool, which is why I think it is a great teaching opportunity to show why so many women feel like their feelings don't matter. It's not because your feelings don't matter. Nobody can even see your feelings because they are coming across in a way that makes people run. Okay? So I'm going to play the video for you guys now.
What's more important, the fact that Martin Luther King is the man that fought for freedom, or the fact that he was cheating on his wife?
Jesus. I'm going to give you this example. He's a great father. He's a great businessman. He's a great CEO. He's an entrepreneur. He's such a boss. He's a boss. Look at that man. He's a boss. He's a great father. Look at him, that strong black man.
Look at him being at his kid's game.
But you're cheating on your wife. You're not a good husband. But he's great in all these other aspects. How are you a great leader, a great CEO, a great black man? You're not great. You're not great. God, you're not. That is triggering.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a good dad. You're not a good dad because you don't respect me. How the fuck you showing these kids you a good father or you don't respect their mother? You're not a great dad, my nigga. You're an okay human.
Someone being a good person to you means they're a good person to you. Someone being a good person to everyone means that they are a good person.
Whew. Okay. Was the sound okay? So here's the thing. So remember I said at the beginning, please, please, please come in here with an open mind. The first thing I want you to do is seek to understand the opposing side, because you already know your side. It really helps when we have context. We might not change our opinion, but what context does is it allows us to feel a sense of empathy and have understanding. Okay? A lot of people are so hurt and they don't know how to control their anger. So it comes out in rage. Not control their pain, so it comes out in rage. I remember before I really understood how to access the power of the Holy Spirit, I started to develop rage. And my personality that you see is my normal personality. My mom said I was like the happiest kid. I would skip everywhere. I wouldn't even walk. I would just skip. I'd squeal. I still squeal when I laugh. Like, I'm a very happy person. But when I was under enormous pressure and I was starting to have a mental breakdown, my mom said to me, she goes, I've never seen this rage. And I got so angry, I had to go out and buy a heavy bag. It's, people call it, what do they call it? What do they call it? A punching bag. People call it a punching bag. But I went out and bought a heavy bag, and I literally had to just go ham on that thing because I had so much rage inside of me. When you feel like you're not being heard, when you feel like you're being pushed past your breaking point, a woman will actually go into her masculine energy, but it's a perverted version of her masculine energy, okay? It's this rage. It's this rage, and it's like, I just have to get this out of me. But the problem is that people don't relate to you when you're in that space. So it's absolutely imperative that you learn how to tap into the Holy Spirit, because he will keep you peaceful. He will keep you calm. I never want to feel the rage that I felt back then. And when I watched that clip, I could empathize. Did I say condone? Empathize with the rage she's feeling, because I know that that is a lower vibration of the feeling of pain. Okay? All right, so a lot of people are commenting, yes, they see aggression, angers from hurt. A lot of people have experienced this. Okay, perfect. Okay? So shout out to the Holy Spirit, because y'all, I would not be this, well, I probably wouldn't even be here. I'd probably be dead, because I was that depressed and hopeless. But if it were not for the Holy Spirit, I would not be here. I certainly would not be in my right mind, and I certainly would not be teaching people and having them say, that's great stuff. I kind of laugh when people say, oh my gosh, you have wisdom, because I'm like, if you had seen me 10 years ago, this is straight regurgitation from whatever I hear from the Holy Spirit. Okay, I don't take any credit for what I share that you think is amazing. It's unfortunate that Black women are seen automatically as aggressive and not hurt or pain. That's the thing. It's not that, in my opinion, it's not that they are automatically seen that way. It's the way that we are speaking is how we are going to be perceived. So if we are yelling, if we are, if our faces are frowned up, if we do certain things, then it seems as though we are being aggressive. And I took a pause right there, because before I speak too soon, it would be interesting to see if other races of people were afforded those same facial expressions and things like that, and if they were just labeled as hurt and upset. Because I do not want to make this into a racial thing, I'm going to leave it there, but I do want to leave a little wiggle room for me being ignorant on that. And so we'll just put a pin in that, okay? I don't want to speak like an expert in something that I'm not in. But I will say this principle that does go across the board. If someone says to you, I'm hurting, versus, ugh, the second one is harder to see the pain, okay? So if you do understand that, you can do things that serve you. So even if that stereotype has been placed on Black women, which if it was, it's erroneously placed on them, we do not have to feed into it. We don't have to feed into it. So videos like this are teaching us how we can use communication to be more effective. Okay. All right, where was I? I have to keep notes, y'all, or I'll be off on some tangents. Okay, so I want you guys to listen to her when she says she's triggered. This is just a little short clip, but just listen to this.
You're not great.
You're
not great. God, you're not. That is triggering.
It's more important. The fact that Martin Luther King.
So there was a lot of pain there. And so all the comments people were making about how ignorant she is and things like that, It's okay to think something and not say it. And I think a lot of times people assume that because someone's a celebrity that they either deserve whatever they get as far as hostility, or they don't even notice it, or they don't care. But it is very difficult to be a public figure and have to listen to the entire world give their opinion, especially when it's not complimentary. When it is something that that the people are not pleased with. And it really hurts me because I don't like to use celebrities, and I made an exception tonight. But it really bugs me when people are just vicious when they're talking about other human beings. And we do not give people the same grace that we would desperately want if we were in that position. So if we said something ignorantly, we would want someone to lovingly pull us aside and say, buddy, hey, sis, that's off. We would want that. We wouldn't want someone name-calling, ridiculing, canceling us. It's the extra hate that is unnecessary. And if you'll notice, I never on my page discourage people from disagreeing. That would be censorship. I hate censorship. I want to understand what people think, and that includes people who disagree with me, because we learn when iron sharpens iron, right? That little friction, you come together. It's not about not liking opposing opinions. What I don't like is disrespect, because I know disrespect makes people shut down, and it does the opposite what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to bridge the communication gap, not blow it up with a rocket missile. I don't think that's the wrong term. Grenade. Okay? All right. So that's the first side, okay? Now we are going to get into his side. All right? I try really hard to be even. Judging anyone based on an act is ludicrous. Everyone deserves a chance to change and become better. Yeah, so she should be afforded that same opportunity. Okay. All right. Oh, I love this, Febby. She says, why do we have high expectations of people with human frailties? We're not perfect. Exactly. So all the disparaging comments about her, it goes both ways. People are human. They have fallacies. They are not perfect. And so on both sides of the equation, they should be given grace. Okay? So here is the man's pain, because what was said felt extremely disrespectful, and it ruffled a lot of feathers, okay? And rightly so. So he says, where's the grace? That's kind of the collective response to what she said. Bruh, where's the grace? You just gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater? That's what the other side of the argument was saying. I messed up in one area and all my honor is stripped from me. Somebody went so far as to make a joke, and he said, oh, now he's being stripped of his legacy because the man wanted to get he basically said a BJ. Now, here's the thing. To overly simplify it, I lost my train of thought reading these comments. Y'all, I'd be nosy trying to read these comments and talk to you at the same time. While we can talk about compartmentalizing and not putting everything together, because remember I said we can look at things, some people can look at things in a compartmentalized way, like what is it called? The switch, like a fuse box. Some people are wired to look at things that way, and other people, they're like Christmas lights. And I venture to say we can flip-flop depending on what side of the shoe we're on, okay, what side we're on. But if you look at it like a string of Christmas lights, if one is out, the whole thing gets ruined. I want to put it this way. Imagine if someone makes you a really delicious meal, right? They make you gumbo. It's the best gumbo you've ever tasted. But they accidentally leave it out and a single cockroach gets into it. According to her, she would say that's not a great gumbo. That's the one perspective. Okay? So you have to understand that person's perspective. Because you might not feel that that particular offense is so great. You're like, it's just that one thing. But now, what if we found something that you did think was great? Okay, get ready. Don't make this a soundbite. What if someone substituted cheating with pedophilia? Okay, we're not saying anything happened. I'm giving an example. So if anyone tries to make this a clickbait thing, it's not going to happen. If you thought something was big enough, murder, child abuse, things like that, suddenly that person's not called great anymore. It's all a matter of perspective. How about people? Okay, oh, perfect example. Let's look at the argument about the people with statues and things, right? If a person had a lot of great accomplishments, but they happen to be a racist, would you care about their other accomplishments? I'm playing devil's advocate so that you can empathize with both sides of the argument. I think both sides are justified in their frustration. I'll put it that way. Now, it's different when you're an average Joe. Again, there are a lot of average Joes who were found out to do certain things and suddenly nobody cared what they had to do. So I'm just asking you to consider. The reason why it's important to consider is because whatever side you take your side on, be prepared to be on that side for the rest of your life. That keeps you from being a hypocrite. For me, I don't want to be stuck on one side. I would rather be in the center. And where the center is grace. I want to be able to give grace. I want to be able to look at somebody and say, you know what? I know I'm not perfect, so I forgive. I also want to be able to look at this person and say, I understand your pain. I understand how difficult it is to get past something that really, really hurts you and made you feel unsafe. I don't think that to love one means we have to hate the other. And to love one means we have to hate the other. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Hold on one second, guys. A lot of people are making comments about saying, don't idolize a person. And it's true. A person should not be idolized because they are flawed. They are humans. But can we acknowledge the greatness they have done? Well, that's for you to decide. Do you celebrate every human for every accomplishment, no matter what they've done offensively? You decide. I don't like to tell people how to conduct themselves. I just want them to keep the same energy when they're on the other side. So if you're on the side of throw that baby out with the bathwater, then don't expect grace when you mess up. If you're on the side of, they should just get over it, stop being a baby, then you better never complain when someone hurts your feelings. And let me give you an example for all the people who are saying, cheating isn't a big deal. How about the guys who can't get over a woman cheating? Is anyone telling them, it's not a big deal? There are certain things that are deal breakers for people and cause them pain. And to say that, you should just be able to compartmentalize something. Can you compartmentalize? If you had parents that you felt did you wrong, but raised you and kept you healthy physically and made sure you went to school, do you compartmentalize or do you hold a grudge? Do you have bitterness? Again, I'm not going to tell you which side to take. I'm going to ask you to look inside yourself and see what you would want if you were on the opposite side of your argument. The solution is divine energy. Divine energy is just a fancy way of me saying the Holy Spirit. Okay? By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this conversation, please smash the like button. If you're on a cell phone, you have to close the chat to be able to see the little thumbs up. But please click that because it lets YouTube know that this is the type of content more people should see. They can only go off of the algorithm. So if you could let me know. Checking my notes. Oh, so the Holy Spirit will allow you to extend grace. All right, so if you've been offended, the Holy Spirit will allow you to extend forgiveness because people are human and will remind you that you're human too. And by the same measure you judge other people, you're going to be judged, okay? So the reason you can heal and move on and get over your bitterness is because God will come in and give you the love that you need that will soften up that bitterness. When you don't have God's love, you don't have an option. Your heart is just going to be hard. But God's love will come in and soften it up and so that you can heal. Because the crazy thing is that when you don't forgive someone else, you're the only one who gets hurt. Somebody said it's like swallowing poison and then waiting for the other guy to die. No, you're the one who took the poison. Bitterness poisons you. Scientific studies have shown the connection between mind and body. And the things that you think about can actually cause cancers in your body, can cause ulcers, okay? So you don't want to play around with unforgiveness and bitterness. The next thing is empathize. A lot of times people struggle to empathize with someone else. The first thing they want to do is dismiss them when they have an opposing thought or opinion. We need to take the time to empathize with others. Put your pain aside and try to find out where the other person's pain is coming from. When it is such a heated conversation, it's obvious that there's pain there. Okay? Most people don't just walk around heated, ready to blow a fuse, blow a gasket. Thank you, Christine. So if you see someone you love, especially someone you love, is upset, try to find out where the source of their pain is. You can only take care of someone else if you're being taken care of already. And again, it goes back to the Holy Spirit. He will give you that extra peace you need to be able to calm yourself down, to be able to at least consider. Thank you, Christine. Look for their pain, look for their sense of need. And here's an example, and this is going to be a little bit unpopular, but a guy who cheats. I did a post earlier saying, it was a repost, shout out to, oh gosh, I hate not giving the credit, Cruise Season. Whew. He did a post, the gentleman did a post, and he said, you notice when he cheats, but did you notice when he was unhappy? No one is justified in their cheating. This is, again, where I'm explaining the behavior, not condoning it or explaining it away, giving perspective. If a man struggles with cheating, there are a lot of times it's because he has either an addiction, okay, which that's just out of your control, doesn't matter, he's insatiable, or he has an emotional need. Usually, men will seek out an emotional need, but they get it through sex. That is why women are so confused when it's a drop-dead gorgeous wife and the lady looks, let's just say, less than gorgeous, okay? It's usually because that woman is able to give him the nurturing that he wanted from his wife. So these are preventative measures. It is not a 100% fail-safe guarantee. If I don't want my kids eating at someone else's house, I'm going to make sure they leave my house full. Does not guarantee someone offers them a candy bar, they're going to say no, but it sure as heck does not have their stomach rumbling when they're over there playing video games. Okay? The other thing is being respectful. When you have the Holy Spirit, you're able to be calm calm. Therefore, it's easier to be respectful. Remember I said it's hard to be respectful when you don't feel loved? So ladies, if you are feeling disrespected, do your best to not chastise or scold the man. Speak to your pain. This is what hurts. Not, you oughta, blah, 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 I can't. He's not going to empathize with that. And it does require us to be the bigger person, but with the Holy Spirit, we can't be the bigger person because we are bigger with the Holy Spirit. Okay? He's giant. And the last thing is understanding. Understanding he's a human. You know, we tend to think, well, if he did this, he must not love me. Sometimes people can love you, but just not have the tools to show it the right way. The tools might mean control, self-control, discipline. It takes a lot of self-discipline to not mess up. And so two things can be true. I can love you and I can still mess up. So that gives understanding. For men, this is what the Holy Spirit can do for you as men. He can allow you to extend her grace. A lot of guys say, I have a client like this. How long am I supposed to deal with her being upset about my cheating? Can't really rush someone's healing process. So grace, God's grace, will help you to have patience for her to heal. It's going to take a while sometimes. But if you're hostile and you're impatient and you're stressing her out, it's not helping the process. Okay? And your source of patience comes from God. Same thing with him. Empathy. You can have empathy. You don't have to get it. You don't have to understand. But you can empathize with the fact that she's feeling pain. And if you feel like she's being disrespectful and it's making you spiral, tap into God. Because when you're tapped into the Holy Spirit, your validation comes from him. And that's really what respect is. It's kind of like validation. I'm being treated this way because I'm good. I'm worthy of this respect. So when somebody doesn't give you that respect, it makes you feel like, man, you don't think I'm worthy of this respect? Because if I was, you'd be giving it to me. So I think it's a deep subconscious need for validation. And that should come from God anyway, but it sure does feel good when it's coming from your spouse. Who doesn't want to feel validated? Worthy of love and respect. And last, understand. Don't speak disparagingly of your woman. Try to understand her. Don't ridicule her. Don't just try to be defensive and make an argument for your case. The goal should be to understand. If there's an argument or you feel tensions coming, you should immediately switch to, let me understand the other person. Because clearly you already understand your side. So switch into, let me understand my partner. When that person feels like you're trying to make an attempt to hear, it calms down emotions. Emotions are the things that cloud your judgment anyway. So it makes sense. Calm them down so that they can hear logically. Okay? We don't think straight when we're hot-headed. The other thing is understand that two things can exist. And I said this before, like he could cheat on you and still love you. I believe that somebody could be great as, a civil rights leader, and they could be not so great as a husband. I don't think everything needs to be all or nothing. I think that a lot of people struggle with mastering both. A lot of times when somebody is a public figure, they have a lot more opportunities to mess up. A lot of people struggle to not mess up, but when you're well known and in the limelight and you're in a position of power, women will literally throw themselves at you. So we should pray for our leaders. We should encourage our leaders. And our leaders need to be connected to the Holy Spirit because it takes a lot of self-control to not get caught up. It's the same thing with any gender. If you get to a place where you can get caught up with money, you can get to a place where you get caught up like worrying about your platform being canceled. So now you start to, compromise on your integrity. Well, I don't want to lose my followers. The truth isn't popular. Anybody can be tempted, especially when you get to a certain position in society. Okay? Make sure I didn't skip anything, you guys. Oh, this is a little bit random, but it is on the subject, okay? So I want to talk about this. There's often this argument made about women filing for divorce more, okay? I just want to throw this out there. Just throw out some theories. And by the way, if anybody wants to come on camera, let me know in the comments that you want to come on. Just say the word yes if you want to come on, and I will give you the information so you guys can come on. We'll just stay a little later if anyone wants to come on. But I want to share this. I have a theory on this. I believe that when women are emotionally frustrated and they don't feel safe, they want to bounce out. They're just like, I'm out of here. I believe that the men have the gift of compartmentalization, where they can literally just shut down. And it's as though they're not even there emotionally. They just whoosh, go into autopilot. I'm just going to focus on being a good dad. I'm just going to focus on working. And it's like they function like the woman isn't even there. So what happens is the guy is sticking around in body, and he's being celebrated by everybody who's sharing this statistic. Well, he stuck around, and the guys say, what's the right thing to do? But here's that two-part thing. Is it valuable if the person sticks around just for the sake of sticking around if they're not being a loving partner? Because women get married because they want to feel loved and supported. So if she doesn't feel loved and supported, I can understand, not condoning, I can understand the woman wanting to leave. But if the man who's wired to compartmentalize doesn't feel good, he can compartmentalize his feelings and just keep trucking along. Does it make one person wrong and one person right? He responds to his pain by compartmentalizing. She responds to her pain by filing for a divorce. Does it make either one worse than the other? Just food for thought. Don't want to kick up too much dirt. I feel that if a man really was worried about the relationship, he would be seeking counseling. He would be looking to talk to her. He would not be ignoring her. I feel like actions speak louder than words. And for the men I have specifically interviewed, the ones that I know that I've talked to said it was cheaper to keep her. They said they didn't want the public stain of humiliation of divorce because for a man, it's seen as failure. I failed in my marriage. Men are big on not failing, especially not publicly. Trying to see these comments. I'm being so nosy. Oh, I can't even see the comment they're referring to. Oh, I have to look after. But a lot of times it's because they want to. They don't want to look like failures, and it's cheaper to keep her. Because like I said, then why not work towards repairing the marriage? Ray says, no, you're wrong. Men try to talk. Our communication is different. And when a woman gets emotional, it's hard to communicate. So we tend to not think about things as seriously as you guys. So here's the thing, though. If you're trying to talk to a woman and it's not working, so you shut down, why not seek professional help? That is literally my specialty. When I'm talking with people, I teach women what she's saying that's making the man shut down, and I teach men what he's saying that's making the woman feel unloved. That way they stop saying those things that are offensive and they get to the root of it and they both go, oh, that's all you were saying? Oh. Again, this is not to, paint one person out as the villain or, the other not. I'm simply saying this is food for thought. I think that there's so much finger pointing. We ought to look at the big picture. All right, so like I said, if anyone wants to come on, they could say the word yes. I see one yes. If we have a couple more, then I will bring you guys on. I want to end with this though. The formal portion of it is that there's an unspoken code when it comes to human nature. Guys, remember we started out with human nature? Can you guys type that in the comments? We started out by saying human nature. There's an unspoken code. There's a line that cannot be crossed. And for men, it's disrespect. You just don't cross the line. That's why you'll notice if you watch old movies or things like that, a lot of times there's something really obvious. The guy won't even say it to the other guy because it's like, out of respect, I'm not going to say it. Like, we all know what it is. We'll just pretend like we didn't see it. Respect is paramount for a man. Okay, that's the unspoken code. For women, it's being unloving. Don't cross that line. Don't speak to her in a way that seems hostile and unloving. She will shut down. So we have to do our best. We have to do our best to show respect and to be loving if we want our conversations and our relationships to thrive. The only way past that is for divine energy. You got to have God at that point because there's no coming back. It hurts too badly. When a woman is absolutely broken in her spirit, it's impossible with human nature to go back. When a man feels disrespected, it's impossible for him to go back to the place he was before, with the exception of God's help. God can heal any wound. What it is it's like an anesthesia. You look down, you see the cut, you see the scar, but you don't feel the same pain you used to feel. Your memory's not gone, you just don't feel the pain. You're not a slave to the pain anymore. So many marriages have been restored because one or both people started to have a relationship with the Lord and they began to get all of their emotional needs met by God. Therefore, they did not have to expect so much from their spouse. Not saying treat me however, but what I'm saying is at the end of the day, if I don't get it from you, I'm still getting it. Just getting it from God. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scenario. That's why I say I don't know how any relationship survives without the Holy Spirit. So, I'm going to close with this question. Do men deserve unconditional respect? Should respect be conditional? Or should it be just given because you're a man? All right, so I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this, and I hope I don't regret it. I think I'm going to, let me turn this Instagram off because y'all are supposed to be on YouTube anyway. Please come on YouTube for this next part, for sure, for sure. All right, guys, so here's what I'm going to do. I really hope I don't regret this. I'm going to, well, no, I think I can post it here. We'll see. So I'm going to try to post the Zoom login here. That was not intentional. It was so weird. Okay. This will allow you guys to come on camera. I'll wait just a second to see who comes on. All right, can you guys click it? I think you can. I think so. All right, look at that. So close. All right, we have our first person. Hopefully everybody is respectful. I'm sure you guys will be. But we're going to bring on everybody I can. Hello, Isaac. You're going to have to unmute yourself, sir. It's probably connecting. There we go. Hi. How are you?
I'm terrific. Let me turn down my volume over here.
Okay, perfect. Oh, yeah. By the way, guys, if you are, why would it censor Christine's comment, we need our men? That's so weird. If you guys do come on, please turn your second device down keep your second device on if you have two devices, because it helps your girl with the analytics. But please have the volume down. All right. So you guys just come in as you would like. All right. So what would you like to say, sir?
I was reading all the comments and I'm just enjoying the different perspectives. But I'll definitely say that I feel that respect should be unconditional. In meaning that because if you come in disrespecting, then what do you expect to receive? I believe that you should give exactly what you want, with having the understanding that everybody is not meant from you. Listening to the song Lessons, it is a very powerful song, written very well, and it actually speaks to our truth. Everybody is not meant for you. You can see somebody and you can like somebody, and you can proposition somebody, but that person may not be meant for you. So you have to find the right person that is for you, that's going to give you exactly what you desire to have.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Let's just say you're in a relationship, married, and the woman utterly respects this man. She holds him in very high regard, and then he does something that shatters her respect, the feeling that she feels.
Mm-hmm.
Should she continue to show respect unconditionally?
You can continue to respect someone while they are giving you the accountability that you require, that caused that disrespect to be, that caused the respect to be diminished. And I can speak from experience, so I'll speak directly from experience. I've been in that position to where I was hurt brutally by the woman that I love. I still respected her. I didn't disrespect her. I just didn't deal with the actions that she was doing, and then gave her several opportunities to get it correct. But she refused. And when I got to the point to where, okay, I can no longer do this, then that's when I ended everything. So I still respect her. I still got mad love for her today. And I can cheerlead. I can still be on the sideline. And I can cheerlead her current success and everything. But I just can't deal with the unaccountability of your actions and
Right.
the unwillingness to make the necessary changes.
And I think it's really important to qualify or to distinguish between feelings of respect, because like I said, if something gets shattered, it's outside of your control. But to demonstrate respect is a completely different thing. So regardless of how you feel emotionally, your wiring, you can choose with your mind to show respect. And so I would agree that respect should be shown unconditionally, the way that love is wanted unconditionally from a husband. And I always say this: there's never an excuse for stooping down to behavior that's below your character. So if a person is taking me to a place where I feel like it's below my character, before that happens, it's my responsibility to walk away. Because if I choose to stay, I'm going to keep holding myself where I'm going to. Janice, welcome. I love that you came on. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hi, I'm sorry. I forgot I was still muted.
It's okay, girl. I be getting caught up too.
Yeah, you called me right when I just finished eating that you were going to bring people on, and I technically still didn't finish, but, you know.
I think I've eaten once on my live stream. I was so hungry, so I won't judge you.
Yeah, no, I ate most of it. It's in the microwave. It was too hot anyway. It was still too hot. I just, literally took it out the oven.
Oh,
and burning my mouth to eat it.
Oh,
so, yeah.
no. I got to say this really quick. I'm going to put you on the spot, but in a good way. I want you guys to drop mad hearts for this young lady, because I have interacted with her since at least last year. And when I say growth, this woman has been playing no games. She is working on her self-healing, and it's amazing. I have seen so much progress, And I love the fact that she didn't give up. She got frustrated at a point and was like, this is a lot. She took a beat, but she did not give up. She stayed in the game. And so kudos to her. If we could drop mad hearts in the comments to show support. There we go. We see some comments. This is what the work looks like. This is what being a grown-up looks like. This is what taking accountability looks like. This is what not making excuses for behavior looks like. Oh, you're even getting hearts from within Zoom. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, because I can't see the YouTube comments, but thank you guys. I'm trying really hard. So, I'm trying really, really hard, and the journey is still. This is still like really tough part of the journey. There are times where it's like really, really discouraging, but I'm pushing through it, and you know, it's really, really rewarding because of all the decision making has gotten so much better. And I really see that. I really see my progress. At first it was like really, really hard to see. And it was like, I was really like blinded by the depression for a while.
Yeah.
But I see where I'm actually like blossoming, and I'm even taking like risks and like, you know, things that are like giving me better opportunities and everything because of it. And I've even gone into spaces where I wouldn't have gone to before. I mean, you mentioned it, where I was like, listen, I don't want to do this.
Yes, going out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I love that, because the reason why I love having the community is because I can say stuff all I want, but when you put a face on it, like this sister here, this is a person. This is a whole person who's having a whole experience. She's not a statistic. She's not a random person on Instagram. She's an actual real life person. And a lot of times in our mind, we make whole scenarios about people who disagree with us online, not understanding their pain, not understanding their backstory. So the more we can put a face and a story to things, this is how we heal our community. So team healing, I didn't mean to hijack your time, but
no, it's okay.
I had to brag on my girl real quick. Okay.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'll just go off of like what I'm seeing in the comments. What were the last thing that we were talking about? Like, I get that men are different, men are wired differently, and let me tell you something. I'm still having trouble accepting that a little bit. Like, I've accepted that you're different, but it's like I don't like it. I'm gonna fix that. But I really don't understand this. Oh, if they cheat on you, that doesn't mean they love you. No, if you cheat on me, personally, that's how I feel about it. If you cheat on me, you do not love me. So that's just it. That's a deal breaker. Can I speak to that? Yeah.
I think this is a matter of verbiage, although we agree on the sentiment. When somebody says, I love you, and I'm going to correct myself, when someone says it, they typically are saying, I like you. That's usually when most people use the word love. I like you. I like how you make me feel is the full sentence. So that person can honestly be saying, Janice, I like how you make me feel. I don't want to see you sad. I like how you make me feel. That is their truth. But not be capable of controlling themselves, and they end up hurting you. But the term love, that if you truly love someone, you love them in action. So to that point, I will correct my statement and use the proper terminology. Yes, true love is sacrificial, and it puts the other person first always. So they are not demonstrating love, even though they feel that they do love you.
First always.
Yes. Whoever is on and not speaking, if you could mute yourself, because it's picking up a lot of feedback.
Love is not hurt at all.
All right, guys, let's see. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, and do you have anything else to say? Because I wanted to clarify that before we move past your next point.
Yeah, I guess going to the B Simone thing, I think people misunderstood her greatly. I think not just because, you know, her saying she was triggered and there was a lot of pain there, but I think she was actually trying to say that MLK himself was not great, because you can tell where the video kind of cuts. I think the video is a lot longer than what we think it is.
Oh yeah, it's a whole episode.
I don't think she was trying to say that MLK himself was not great. I think the question was what started it, and they used him as an example. And then she goes straight to, men. I'm just going to give you an example.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he was, generally speaking, I personally definitely would never say, you know, hey, MLK is not great because he cheated on his wife. I'm not saying that. I would never say that. My mother would slap me into next week, okay? I grew up with my mom having, like, all the leaders in my house posted. Like, my mother would not play that, okay? So even if I felt that way, I'm not saying it. But I personally feel like as a leader, it's a little bit different. It's not just you being an average Joe. That's why I said the average Joe comment. It's not just you being, you know, a regular person. Every day you're going out to work and then you're coming home, but you're, you know, doing whatever you're doing. This was a man who was a face behind an entire movement, you know? So people have to look at it in that way. Somebody also mentioned the whole president thing. Yeah, a lot of presidents got impeached, a couple of them because they were cheating on their wives. They look at it as, if you can't control yourself within your home, what makes you think you could be a leader of anything? And that's the point that I think that she was trying to make. The whole thing about, you know, hey, you cheating on me. How are you a good father, but you're cheating on the mother? Yeah, I agree with that too. How are you a good father? You're teaching your children to not respect the mother because you don't respect the mother. So they're like, oh, well, you know, I've seen that plenty of times where a lot of women who don't like their femininity or stray away from it because they see their mothers getting cheated on. They see their mothers getting abused and hurt by their fathers, their husbands. And they actually stray away from their femininity because they're like, oh, if that's what it means to be feminine, I don't respect my mother because their father doesn't respect her. Their husband doesn't respect her. I don't respect that. I don't respect her because she really allowed that. So that's what that is. It goes deeper than just saying, hey, I'm a man and well, not to say it that way, but, you know, some people do say that. I'm just, you know, reiterating what other people are saying.
Right.
But it's deeper than just saying I'm a man and this is just how I am.
You make a really good point about the effect of the children if it's not dealt with in a way. Sorry guys, it's frozen. If it's not dealt with in a way where everyone acknowledges, like, this is absolutely wrong. You know, the dad sitting down, this is absolutely wrong. I'm taking accountability. The mom, I don't condone this. However, I'm putting the family first. If it doesn't get addressed, I can definitely see how it can do more harm because look at the backlash. So many women are saying the reason I move the way I do is because I looked at what didn't work for Granny and what did not work for Mom. She was physically abused. She was manipulated financially, all this stuff. They're seeing what's happening in the home and it is causing trauma. And then the women are overcompensating for it because they don't know what else to do. So I think you bring up a good point. Again, you can see somebody's point on this side, and it does not mean you're automatically abandoning this side. It's okay to see the merit in what someone says and then think there's also merit in this side. So let's continue this conversation. Because you brought up that point, does anyone else want to jump in and respond to that particular point that she just brought up right now, which I think is actually good food for thought? Don't everyone talk at once. By the way, are any of you guys single? Because I would love to bring you on my Friday night spotlight. No pressure. Hey, Mr. Perez.
Lady Yonci, hello again.
Hi. All right, let me just adjust the screen over here because y'all, I'm not fancy. I don't have a, what is it called? What's that? I can't think of it. StreamYard. So y'all, I'm doing edits over here. So if I look distracted, that's why. What would you like to add, Mr. Perez?
I wanted to expand this a little bit further into positionally the types of male disrespect. And what came to mind were 3 types of male non-respect. I'll use that term better. Okay. The first is king to king, and that is comparing men to other men. And this happens a lot in churches where the wife will say, well, pastor said this, and pastor said, throwing the pastor, another male authority figure from another realm, another kingdom, and bring him into the home to show non-respect to him in his kingdom, in the home. So I would say that's one way. Another way is queen to king, which is that pseudo masculine energy that you talk about a lot. Men may have a cognitive dissonance where they either check out or shut down as a result of non-respect, and that can come from either disregarding him or matching him. It's not a boxing match. It should never be a boxing match. And that's where the cognitive dissonance comes. When he sees something that is unnatural, he will either check out or shut down. And the third type of non-respect is what I call prince to king. Young men during their journey to manhood many times will also test male authority figures. And that's where you also get into conflict as well. So just expanding what can happen in the home to other positions as well.
Y'all are always to the side of my face when Mike is on because I'm taking notes. I love learning, and I love what he has to say. So different levels of disrespect. And a lot of times there are unspoken codes. There are unspoken codes that we just don't know about. And those codes are usually taught in the home. And so if those codes are not taught in the home, there are a lot of people who don't know how to read the room. So I remember just watching last night, I was watching this episode. There's a show that has real estate agents. And there's a broker. If you guys don't understand about real estate, there's brokers. And then there are realtors that are under the broker. The broker has the final say. They're the ones who has their license on the line, and they make decisions on the the real estate agent's moves. Real estate agents can move about, but if it comes to a crossroads, the broker has the final say. So this woman had a different opinion on how they should proceed with this, what is it called? I'm like losing my train of thought. Yes, that's fine. On how to negotiate, on the negotiation process. So the guy said, no, this is how it's going to be. It should have been done right there. But she went back and forth and back and forth. And then not only did she go back and forth, which I could somewhat give a little bit of a pass if the person was asking for clarification. Okay, if you don't mind, would you explain? Because that posture says, I disagree, but I would like to at least understand why so that I can be on the same page. And that you still have to proceed with caution. And in the military where they say, request to speak freely, because you're asking something that's above your rank, basically. So she didn't do that, but she started, debating him. And then when he finally, in a still extremely nice way, said basically shut it down, she stooped making a face. Now this is someone in their 40s. We're not talking about little kids. She made a little face. I guess somebody's in a pissy mood. And I'm just like, I'm watching it on the TV. I'm not even in the room, but I could feel that tension. And this is what's happening a lot of times with men, where they're, from an untrained eye, it might have just looked like, oh, these are just two adults talking, not realizing there is a certain chain of command. And this, of course, really ruffles feathers when it comes to modern society, because modern society says there is absolutely no distinction between men and women. However, the minute you really talk to a woman, she will say, I want a man to be a leader. Well, you got to let a man lead if he's the leader. So we contradict ourselves, when modern women say certain things and then want these traditional views. The reality is, and sorry for the tangent, you guys, the reality is a lot of modern women are lured in and want the perks of being a modern woman, but they see the value in tradition, and so that's where they want the man to be traditional. I want the perks of being modern and wear the pants, but I actually want you to still wear the pants when it comes to responsibility. And that's where men are going, nah, this is not working. So I think it's really important that we go back to teaching code. And so Mike saying the king on king code is one of the worst things you can do to a man is to compare him to another man. Men can do it to each other. Oh, you got that car? Oh, yeah, it's 2 years old, man. I got the newest one. Men can do that. Why? Because if it ever gets disrespectful, they can take it to another level and everybody understands what time it is. A woman, if she takes it to a certain level, there is no time. They're not allowed to. It's never allowed to be that time. You just got to walk away as a guy. So as a woman, you don't want to infuriate, I just made up a word, infuriate the guy. If you know what triggers him, don't trigger him just like you wouldn't want to be triggered. And I say this, I always like to give an example so people who are going, I would never, can you imagine if your husband came home and said, Lisa, how come you can't have a snatched waist like Jeanette? You'll be like, I hope Jeanette gonna feed you because I sure as hell ain't, right? We'd be so offended if a man compared a woman to another woman when it comes to looks or disposition or whatever, but yet a lot of women are comfortable saying to men, oh, why can't you buy that? He bought that. Why can't you do this? Or why can't, instead of just saying, baby, I would really like this. Would you do that? We can still get what we want without tearing our partner down. And I think that's the important part. Being feminine is not about shutting up and being a doormat. It's about work with what you got. If you know this man loves to feel like this big old massive superhero, make him feel like a superhero in the way you talk to him. And he gonna give you everything you want anyway. Okay? So I'm giving y'all the cheat code. You just gotta stroke his ego just like you like your ego to be stroked. He butters you up and tells you how beautiful you are. You're good. All right? So don't act like people are more fragile than you. We all fragile. We all like our ego stroked, and we all don't like to be pissed off. Okay? Let's just keep it a buck. All right, we got Mr. Hey.
Let me add one more piece to the Prince to King thing that involves women and what I'm going to call the Triangle Tango. When that happens, when the father and the son are in that tangle, and mommy wants to jump in to protect her little son, now you have caused a double conflict. The man is trying to instill something in his son, and now the son also is learning, is actually becoming a weaker man through that journey, because now he sees mommy coming to his defense. So we need to also be very, very careful when we are trying to interject. The best thing to do is take a step back and pray, and hope. If you trust your man and you see this going on, then you let it play out, kind of like lions in the wilderness where they kind of just tussle.
Right.
But if it gets to a point where it becomes unhealthy, then of course you do have to step in. But you do need to let it play out and see what happens.
I love that. I can tell on myself. When my son was probably like 4 or 5, and I don't like to share stories that involve someone else, but I think this one's okay to share because I'm the only bad guy in the story. But we went to go to the park. One of the few times we went to go to the park, and my husband, who is, professionally played basketball, he went to go take his little boy to go play basketball, right? Our son. So he goes to play, and in my mind, we're going to go have fun. We're going to go have an out. Daddy finally has time off. We're all going to go out and play. He has this little kid doing drills. No, you step with your foot this way. You jump off of this foot. And eventually my son starts to get so upset, he starts crying. As a mom, I am freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, he's never going to want to hang out with you again because you're taking all the fun. I'm thinking this in my head. You're taking all the fun out of it. You're going over the top. He's only 4. He barely knows his right foot from his left. And now you're telling him to do the, right? He's trying to teach him the layup footwork. So as you said, Mike, I am showing him, I'm out of order. So now I'm disrespecting his father right in front of his father. And I'm softening him. I actually softened him. My husband was so turned off. He's like, I'm good, backed up and did not train him. Now my son doesn't end up taking up basketball until 8th grade when a coach actually spots him and goes, get your butt over here. What are you not doing on the team? Drafts my kid on the spot, and because he's really, really tall. And now he was years behind everyone else. Probably cost him a scholarship because my kid is fantastic at basketball. But you cannot compete the same way if you have not been trained, especially if you start at 8th grade. And you're trying to play high school ball versus a kid who's been training since 4 years old. So a lot of times we have these great intentions as moms, but as you said, we're hurting the kids we're trying to protect. and we're frustrating and tying the hands of the father, the husband. Another situation you said, at as much as you can let the lions tussle. I will not say who it was. It was not my husband or anybody, but it was somebody close to me who had such a tension with the father and son. A family member had to come in and physically remove the kid from the home because they said, I really do think someone's not going to walk away. A fight is going to get really intense that one of them is not going to walk away. And that's wisdom. You see that you have two hotheads that are just really getting in it. Yes, at that worst case, when it comes to a matter of like life or death, yes, step in. But aside from that, like you said, they grown men. Let them hash it out. Like, go make a sandwich or something. Like, calm down. My mom used to go pray, but my dad would deal with us and spank us. My mom would go, oh, she prayed because she didn't grow up like that. So, did anyone else want to join the conversation? I love this, you guys. I love hearing what you guys have to say.
So I just wanted to just interject, like what Mike just broke down. I've never heard that ever in my life. It just completely blew my mind. And I can go back and just instances in my life where, wow, so this is what I grew up in my home. You know, I grew up in a 2-parent household. Mom, dad, married for years. But the dynamic of, you know, my mom was the churchgoer and my dad wasn't. And I think that the fact that lasted all of their lives, you know what I mean? Because of, I don't know, if it's pride or whatever, you know, and I think that goes on with a lot of men who are married to Christian women. They stay home and the wife, you know, is listening to the pastor. And I think a lot of men, you know, that's why you have this divide of church on church marriages, if that's a thing. Because of that dynamic that Mike just broke down, which is completely fascinating. And yeah, I just wanted to say that. I had other things, and I'm very active on your Instagram page, and it's entertaining. So I was the one that mentioned earlier today about how men compartmentalize.
Oh yes, it's true. It's really true though.
Yeah, and I've learned that years ago. I don't know what you know came to that how I came to that realization. But when I learned it, I'm like, men just don't see this, you know, things the way that we see things. You know, we see red, orange, yellow, blue, green all meshed up together, and you know, men see it in different buckets.
Yes.
And that just bleeds over into a whole lot, you know, whole other things, you know, in life. So that's my 2 cents. I just wanted to just, you know, come on here and just say hello to everybody.
I appreciate it. It's nice putting faces with the names and, you know, just a little tiny profile pictures. I think that the more that we understand about the opposite sex, the better we can maneuver. And I always like to give the example of the cat and the dog. If you grew up with just dogs and you have no clue about cats, you're going to try putting a leash on that guy. You're going to try to throw him in the bathtub. You're going to try to, you know, throw a ball to him at the beach. And this thing is going to be like, so if you don't understand the nature of what you're dealing with, you're going to be unintentionally triggering the very thing that comforts a woman, pisses off a man. And I'll give you an example. If Jeanette and I have an issue, I say, oh, girl, come here, let's talk about it. And we'll pull each other's hair back and, okay, girl, let's talk about it. That's how when a man is frustrated and he's really at his breaking point, they typically want to walk away. Like, let me cool down. Let me sort through my thoughts so that I don't say anything disrespectful, because I know when I'm heated, anything can come out of my mouth. Or, you know what, maybe I'm actually wrong, but if I don't have a second to actually sort through my thoughts, I can't even process to know. And so he's actually being respectful by backing away. But we're triggered because we're like, but me and Jeanette, we come together when we're upset, and he's pushing me away. And then we assign a value to it. Pushing away. Oh, he's pushing me away. No, he's walking away towards his protection, his sanity. And I know that it's reversed for some women want to walk away and get space, and some men want to come and talk. But it's all about our wiring. And so the more we can understand the less we will take personally, and we can work. With my father, I used to ask him questions and I would unintentionally offend him. And he's like, it's like, you're just coming to me like you're my peer. And I'm like, well, we're both adults. I mean, I'm really thinking like, I didn't think I was being disrespectful. And he had to teach me there's a way you can say things. Hey, Dad, well, why did you come to this conclusion? Like I said with the real estate example. Well, how did you see that? And knowing when to back down. A lot of times we can even be right, but out of the respect in backing down, then the Lord will then speak to that person through the Holy Spirit, and they can come back to you and say, you know what, I punished you for what Johnny did. I didn't know Johnny did it, but you know what, Susie, I'm so sorry, and you know what, come on with Pops, we're going to get some ice cream. When she keeps her mouth shut and lets him do that, he gets to save face, so to speak, and everybody keeps that, you know, the unspoken line doesn't get crossed. A lot of times we just, myself included, we're rushing to try to make things happen in our own power, and then we're stepping all over these lines that shouldn't be crossed, breaking all kind of codes, and then we wonder why, even if I'm right, why am I being paid out to be the bad guy? Because all of your rightness went out the window when you crossed all those lines. So it's kind of like the police officer. He knows the person's inside, but if you don't have a just cause, he knows that the whole case is going to get thrown away. You have to be able to think and go with the program. Nick, did you have anything you wanted to contribute? Or Jeanette, was there anything else before? I didn't want to hijack your...
No, that's it. I'm on the East Coast, so it's a little late over here.
Is that your sayonara?
I'll be on for a little bit.
Okay. Hey, Nick, welcome.
No, just listening in, getting some different perspectives. Don't know what I missed because I've been bouncing in and out of the conversation.
I'm just teasing.
But no, you had posed a question earlier. Should respect be unconditional? I do not think so at all. I think respect, well, it's almost like a negative imbalance. You shouldn't disrespect anyone without given reason, but respect, in my opinion, has to be earned. You have to do something to actually garner that respect. So I think it's the same way with love. Outside of children who get unconditional love, everybody else has to be earned.
So for clarification, because we actually dealt with this a little bit ago, and so we have to get on the same page with terms. So what I recognized was that there is the evoking the feeling of respect. Like, you personally have earned respect in my book because I know you personally. So that's a feeling that has been commanded as a result of your behavior. But then there is a showing of respect. I don't know Isaac from a hole in the wall. Well, not a hole in the wall. From Adam, okay? From Adam. I was not, he's comparing him to a hole in the wall. Adam, but I'm going to show him respect because that's my character. If he disrespects me, he's going to get kicked off my show. But he will not let me come out of my character and be disrespectful. So I will politely tell him where he can go. So would you agree that there's a difference between choosing to show respect and feeling respect and admiration for somebody?
Sure, yeah, I will agree with that.
Okay,
yeah.
Then I think we're in agreement then. If anyone else has anything they would like to add, I am all ears. I love this, you guys. I think that a lot is coming out of this conversation.
Hi, again.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I know you haven't spoken yet. I would rather let you speak.
Aww.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know, I just love my community.
What's going on? I was almost going to say something when he said about the respect, and you cleaned it up. I was like, wait, what? Okay. But I think, just a point that I put in the chat on YouTube earlier, I think the biggest thing is, we're talking about love and how someone feels about me. And I think it just goes across the board. You can want something, but not want to do anything about it, right? I can love somebody, I can respect you, but I can also not act in a way that lines up with how I actually feel, right? And the example I use in the chat is somebody saying, hey, I want to lose weight. Hey, I want to get in shape. You could say that. You could be in that phase for 1, 2, 3 years until you get to the point of dissatisfaction that I now am at a point where I want to do something about
Yes.
how I feel. So I feel like I'm not happy with how I look, how I feel, all these other things. But until I get to the point that I'm like, okay, I'm ready to take action on it, that's when it starts to show outwardly. But you can talk about it all day, right? It doesn't mean you don't want it.
Right.
You just don't want to do the work more than you actually want the results. And it's that fine balance. I can want the results without wanting to do the work. I just don't never get the results.
I absolutely love that. And I was actually hoping you would give a fitness example because it's the perfect thing. I told this to one of my clients a couple weeks ago. I said, I'm all about having authenticity even within your own brain because we have subconscious, but we know what our subconscious is based on our actions. The Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. When people say, oh, so I slipped up, and I think the term they use is Freudian slip. Nah, it's revealing what's really in your heart because I don't accidentally say racist things if I'm not a racist. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Right.
So I realized, I said, what is this conflict? I don't like being overweight, but I'm not working out. And it caused this cognitive dissonance. I'm like, is it not true? And what I realized is I don't want to look this way, but my desire for comfort exceeds my desire for looking this way, not looking this way.
Exactly.
And I think that's what happens with the guy or the woman who says, I care about my spouse. I don't want them to get hurt, but I care more about this momentary pleasure I'm going to get from cheating right now or flirting or crossing the line. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. And then the pain is, but your love for me didn't trump your desire for this other thing. And they're saying, so that's not love. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And I think, with all of that, it just goes back to what am I looking at? What am I putting in front of me? If I know that that's a problem that I have in any of those areas, right? Just like, I just stay with the weight example or the fitness example is I have to continue to put myself around people that are going to help me get better at that thing. People that are doing the things that I'm currently not doing. Yeah. Same thing in the relationships, talking to somebody, whether it's in church, whether it's seeing a therapist, just putting yourself in a position to learn more and to act in the way that you want to be acting, not in the way that you're currently acting. That's how you're going to be able to get better in any of those areas in life. So
I love that. It's so true. They say your circle. What do they say? You should never look around the circle and you're like the best at it because that means that you're behind.
In any area.
And then if you're at the bottom, that's a problem. You should be working your way up. So it's just, you should always be growing and evolving. And what you see around you really influences you because if I am 50 pounds overweight, but I'm hanging out with people who are 200 pounds overweight, I could feel real good about myself. I'm like,
exactly.
I don't struggle to get up the stairs. Yeah, but you can't tighten your pants. Okay, so that shirt don't button anymore. It's easy when we compare ourselves to someone who's doing far worse. Well, I'm not sleeping with her. Yeah, but they're all sleeping with the other woman. I'm just flirting with her in my office. Yeah, but if you're around people who have the bar really high, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. I know you're not flirting with this chick right in front of us. Your crew will get you together quick if you got the right circle. So I love that.
Yeah. And one more thing to what you just said about the circle is I heard people talking about it earlier about, being able to separate pieces of somebody. I think that circle, you need different circles for different things. Like the person that you follow for, I don't know, advice in your business, the person that you follow for advice about fitness, like you might come see this guy or girl as a trainer, but they might not be the model that you want to follow for your relationship. You might go see your minister or somebody as, somebody you're going to follow. It shouldn't be that way, right? You should be able to follow people in multiple areas, but I should be able to come to you with a question about something that you are an expert in and not feel some type of way because your relationship at home isn't the best or because you cursed somebody out yesterday. Like, I don't want to follow you in that area of your life, but that doesn't take away from something that you know about.
That is so profound because, like you said, this person might be great with your taxes.
Exactly.
But what if you find out he beats people up? It's like, but he really got me a big write-off last year. But it's so true. And this is why nobody should be idolized. Nobody should be thought of as Jesus Christ. Jesus is the only one who cannot disappoint you. And when we do that, and I'm not going to lie, I literally unfollowed someone today because they gave really, really good advice, but I happened to catch them on a live stream and they were being so condescending to people that it repulsed me. And I was like, I don't even want that energy around me. It's not a good look. And, you know, as much as we do want to compartmentalize, it is hard not to. I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way, but I'm saying it's so hard. One of the biggest areas that I struggle with is when a pastor falls. Because if he gave great teaching all the way up until Tuesday, and then Tuesday I found out that he's a wife beater or cheater, on Wednesday he's still giving a good message, but it's like, it's hard to put that out of my head. It's like the judge who says, okay, I know you guys saw that video, but don't consider it because we're talking about him and his business dealings. And you're like, what? They just found 3 bodies in his backyard. But no, this is a financial matter. So the Bible talks about that. And that's why he says that a pastor is under the highest, you know, a teacher is under the highest scrutiny, because if you cause somebody to stumble, that's why I use that. Does anyone know the name of that block? My goodness, I keep saying the block in the parking lot. What is the formal name for that? But if you cause someone to stumble, you're doing a lot of damage. And so many people have fallen away from the church, not because the Word of God has let them down, not because the Holy Spirit has let them down, but because the people in the church have caused almost irreparable damage, psychologically, spiritually, sometimes physically, sexually, verbally, anything, you name it. And so we have to understand, to bring this back though, those of us who have other people in our lives, which means everybody, you are an influencer. And what is done in the dark will come to the light eventually. And we have such a task to get ourselves together and walk the right path, not just because of ourselves, because you don't know what other people are watching you. I'll use Isaac for a random example. Isaac might not even realize it, that he's, without being conscious of it, mentoring a nephew. He might unconsciously be mentoring a little neighbor boy who doesn't have his dad. But one day, maybe he hears over the fence him cussing someone out or giving advice to someone to cheat them out of their money. And he has no idea that little boy who just really looked up to him as an honorable person, now his idea is shattered because he was the one guy in his life who really was a good representation of a strong man. And so we have to always keep that in mind. I think it's so easy for people to be like, well, you know, I didn't ask for the spotlight, or I didn't ask to be a role model. And you don't get asked to. A lot of times people just look at you and they start to model their life after you if they see that you have something that they like. So I just want to add that. Curb stops. Oh, is that what it's called? Curb stops? Okay, because I was like, what is that cement thing called that makes you not drive too far into the parking spot? Anyone else have some nuggets they want to just sprinkle along our pathway? Any gems?
I'd like to throw out a challenge and maybe even get some comments. You know, the strongest muscle on a woman's body in relationship to a man is always going to be her tongue. You know, that's going to be the strongest thing, and she can go toe to toe with a man with her tongue while he can with his biceps. You know, so to speak, in terms of energy and damage to one another. So I was thinking, how many people, I was going to isolate it to women, but men can do it too, would actually, instead of using the tongue, but use touch to diffuse a conflict, right? Like if you're triggered, since we're using that word, to reach out and just put your hand on top of their hand or on their arm or on their back and see what that does, because touch does activate oxytocin, which is a happy hormone, right? So what would happen if more times, instead of we respond or react verbally, that we respond physically with just a soft touch? Because a woman's touch to a man, it's almost like velvet. So what else can be used to de-escalate a man's hormones when that adrenaline is rushing like that, then that. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think compliments too. Like, for example, if I had a guy on my channel, this happened in real time. It was on I almost said Zoom. It was on Instagram, and this guy was having a really healthy conversation. And I get to know my followers. Like, there's one guy who just always has extremely aggressive stuff to say. Everything is about money for him. And if anyone disagrees with him, he belittles them, judges their character, says they're less of a man. I mean, he says like the worst things you could say offensively to another man. And so this other guy, I could see him because the guy went to the white meat. Like, he went beyond drawing blood. Like, he went for the white meat with his words. And I could almost see the proverbial smoke coming out of the bull's nose and the hoof going like this. And I just stepped in and I said, "Hey, King." I said, "I could tell that you are a man of God. I can tell that you carry yourself to a certain degree. I would hate for this comment, this to go left if you tried to match energy." And he said, "You know what? That's one of the things I love about you." He said, "You have a way of diffusing the situation." But I wasn't patronizing him. It was true. I really saw him, and I put myself in his shoes, and I'm like, I know who I am and what character I try to hold. But if someone crosses a certain line, I do have to remember to leave my earrings in and don't put my hair in a ponytail, because I'll want to take it there verbally. And so it was that gentle reminder. It was like, you're not losing the fight. Because I think subconsciously that's what it is. If you don't get that last word in, or you don't also draw blood, it's perceived like you're weaker because you backed away. So what I did was I gave him his medal myself. I basically, without saying it, said, "You're the victor." Because character in my book trumps, drawing blood. And because he was a person who values character, that prize was good enough. To other men, I have tried to diffuse the situation, and their response in no uncertain terms is, "Nah, move aside, I'm finna go for this dude jugular." And that just shows you the type of character. Or some men, I'll check them, and they'll say, "My bad, queen," and they'll be quiet. The other dude is like, "Don't check me." So I think that when a woman can speak life into her man, "Hey, baby, it's not worth getting a fight. I don't need you going to prison. I'm not trying to have conjugal visits." You could take humor and, "Look, if we go home, I'm going to do something way more exciting than that fight, okay?" We can so diffuse just as powerfully as we can instigate. And so I don't think we women understand how much power we have over a man.
A soft answer diffuses anger, right?
Yeah.
And Mike, sorry, go ahead, Elsa.
No, you sorry. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I would say to your point in terms of a disarming touch, it really depends on the person's situation. I can see that as being effective in certain scenarios, and I can also see it being taken as disingenuous or in place of coming to an actual solution. I can only speak for myself, but whenever there's an argument or a dispute with a woman that I'm with, I'm much more interested in the solution than I am of trying to sweep something under the rug or put it to the side. So as long as it is genuine and as long as it is actually in an effort to come to a solution, as opposed to redirecting or deflecting away from what the problem is, it maybe can be effective.
Nick, can you give 2 examples? Because I totally get what you're saying, but I don't want someone to misunderstand. Can you give a scenario in which diffusing the situation is best? For example, I gave the scenario of my dude might get into a bar fight and he's a lawyer and I'm not trying to have him have a criminal record. So I do want to diffuse that situation. I don't care who's right or wrong. I just need my man out of there. What would be a situation where diffusing it is not a good situation?
You diffuse bombs. So when there is an explosive situation, diffusion typically works. With men, the way that we express hurt or disappointment may be unfamiliar to someone that doesn't know us. I don't necessarily know if diffusion is the correct or best possible solution to an expression of hurt or disappointment. So yeah, in the scenario that you presented, if there's actual anger, yeah, diffusion probably would work, but I don't necessarily know if it would have that same effect if there was disappointment or hurt that was being expressed.
You bring up a good point about disappointment. Just like, I don't know if you were on when we were talking about the angry black woman label. You know, if the woman gets angry, she's if she displays what looks like anger, her hurt is not even considered because the person can only see what's being displayed as anger. I think that a lot of times men are angry, or they display angry behavior, but the reality is they are hurt or disappointed, as you've said. This is something I see all day long in counseling, where the person will react with this emotion and this person reacts with that emotion, but no one is dealing with the actual emotion, which always ends up being hurt. And then it ends up this like tit for tat thing. So to me, I call diffusing the situation when the person is not dealing with the root issue. So let's just say, for example, my man is cussing out somebody else and screaming at him. Well, I guess men don't scream, yelling at him. And the other person starts cursing back and yelling. I would encourage my man to take a break. His wife would probably encourage him to take a break and say, hey guys, just why don't you go outside? Go just have a heart to heart. That to me is going to be more productive than two people shouting at each other, because now you're just trying to defend your honor and your reputation, especially if the women are still there. Now nobody can back down, because now it's like, oh, who's going to be the fill in the blank who doesn't, nobody wants that. But if the women kind of put what is it called? Like make it a draw. Okay, no one's the winner, but go outside and y'all handle it. Now we're not privy to it. I think that women can be instrumental in that type of a scenario too. And then the men could really say this, hey bro, like really, really bothered me what you said last week. I felt like it was disrespectful. And that person could be like, oh fam, I'm sorry, whoop de whoop, whatever. I don't know, I'm not good at speaking guy, but that was my my efforts. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if you can see the chat, but I just typed in there, I said, all these techniques are situation specific. And we just have to pick the right one for the scenario, the situation that we're in. However, when we use these techniques, it's towards de-escalation, and de-escalation and not avoidance, all right? The problem does still have to be dealt with, but when you de-escalate, it gives you time to rethink and then come back at it from a different angle. However, when the temperature keeps rising and rising and rising, sometimes you do have to redirect. You got to do a pivot. You just, when you're on that, on that court, on that field, sometimes you got to pivot and go a different direction to get to that goal.
I love that, and this is the perfect segue, and I think we're gonna wrap up here, guys. Oh my goodness, we're 2 hours in. It's 10 o'clock on the East Coast, which Mike knows on the East Coast. But next week, I'm going to be talking about communication and specifically speaking in love. The situation that happened earlier today that I spoke of, that I had to just unfollow the person, I shared something with them about speaking in love, and they said, I'm not going to lie to somebody. And I realized, in thinking back on a lot of conversations I've had with people, their thought is that you either speak the truth harshly, or the other alternative is to lie. Those are the only two options that people think. And so, not throwing Nick under the bus, I'm only using this as an example, but how you just, Mike, compared de-escalation versus avoidance, I can see how if Nick had the experience that every time a situation was de-escalated, it never got resolved, I can see how for him, those things could seem synonymous, or he could see it's a slippery slope. So, and Nick is very smart, so I don't think that he would confuse the terms, but I could see how if 9 times out of 10 a de-escalation occurs, followed up with no other, actions, that could be a frustration, and then there's a correlation in his mind between de-escalation and avoidance. So I want to honor that is a lot of people's reality, and next week I'm going to be doing the same thing with speaking the truth in love. A lot of people do not know how to speak the truth that pierces the heart It's not sugarcoated at all, but you don't leave that person feeling they got decapitated or stabbed. I don't want to help someone in one area and cripple them in the other. Like, I came in and saved you from having cardiac arrest, but I amputated your leg. Like, how, oh, okay, now you're hobbling out. I'd rather you leave my doctor's office, my surgeon's table, with 2 legs and recovered from your heart attack, than the other alternatives. So you guys make sure you tune in for that. I will let you guys share closing thoughts if anyone has any closing thoughts. I think you guys have been an A1 panel. You guys have been incredible, and I've enjoyed you guys a lot. Are you guys enjoying them in the comments? There have been a lot of comments. I'm going to go back and read them. I always read them after because otherwise I'd be like this too long.
Hey, Yonci, I'm just thank you for allowing us to come on. I love to see when a man come on and we share our perspective. And I think that it's too often that men have not been allowed to share their perspective because of the persona that a man has to be strong, that we're not supposed to show our sensitive side. And I think that the more that we begin to show our sensitive side, the more that that the women will begin to understand us. The more that we open our communication channels, it actually gives the woman in our life the actual insight to who we are, and also gain that level of understanding about us. And I definitely say that we have to be more understanding and have to see the other person's viewpoint as well.
I love that. That's another one I'm adding to my list. Strong does not equal numb. Just because he's not crying in a fetal position, calling for his mom, doesn't mean he doesn't feel that inside. The man has a very tough job because when he hears thump thump in the middle of the night, we're allowed to go ah! and jump under the covers. He has to go inside. I'm joking, but that's scary. You don't know what you're facing, but he can't show it. And a man who goes to war, for example, he doesn't like doing that. He doesn't like killing people. He doesn't want to have to do all that stuff. But in his mind, he has to compartmentalize and say, if I don't get this threat neutralized, it's coming to my doorstep. So I thank God so often that I'm not a man, because I am not cut out for it. It's not cute to me. I ain't trying to be y'all. Wear your own pants. I'll wear the skirt, because it's just, she's not built for it. So kudos to you men. Do your thing, and I want to learn how to honor you. And beyond just words, I want to honor you with action. So love what you had to say, Isaac. You're getting some hellos from the chat, so I don't know if you have YouTube open, you can see. Anybody else? I'm telling you, y'all are just dropping gold tonight.
Yeah, I definitely would like to give my closing thoughts. I will definitely say, I wanted to add something earlier from the last thing that we were talking about. As a woman, I definitely did not know what power I had at all. I still don't know, actually. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think I have that kind of power. But I do feel like I'm kind of getting there. I do feel like we don't realize how powerful our tongue is. From my past, I could definitely tell you my favorite line, or a former favorite line of mine. I don't really like to use it now, but I definitely said I've killed souls with this mouth. And I've definitely with men, more so men than women. And I can definitely say, during my journey, I realized how very detrimental that was. I think that it came from me being the angry Black woman, though. I was definitely angry. Like I said, I didn't feel like I had any power. And I would just like to say that because of me starting to look within for those answers, I realized that I'm actually going completely against my nature. And I've been fighting it because I didn't love that nature. I didn't love that part of me at all. And I'm still kind of learning to love it. It's still a process, still a journey that I'm going through. But I had a very, very crazy revelation with a man, because it was the first time a man actually helped me connect the dots and told me about myself. And it was a person on the outside looking in, basically already explained to me what I was doing, but I couldn't connect the dots. So he was able to connect those dots for me, and that's what brought me to like my realization of me going against my nature and not embracing it, not appreciating it, and realizing how sick I was getting because I was not appreciating it and not embracing it. So I just wanted to add that.
I'm fighting tears because I will not describe it, but you know the voicemail that you left last year. This is not the same woman. This is not the same woman.
I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this right now. Oh my God. It's too triggering. I'm done. I don't care about men. They can just go away. Yeah, that was me.
Literally, and your tone, like, everything. Like, you are a different person. I'm standing before you as a living witness. That was a shell of a person. You are a whole person standing in front of me. And part of you said you don't know your power and femininity. Part of our feminine, which everyone has, male and female, is the power to heal. The fact that you felt, that's also feminine. You listened to your intuition saying, this isn't right. This shoe is not fitting. This is uncomfortable. Blisters should not be forming on my feet. You listened. That's your intuition, feminine. You felt, you allowed yourself to feel what you were feeling. And 3, you're starting to have the courage to heal. So you are tapping into your power even though you don't realize it. You are showing up in your feminine when you are listening quietly and objectively. And you notice when you open your mouth, people want to hear what you have to say. I'm not gonna cry. I'm so happy that you hung in there. Because it was hard hearing your pain. It was so hard hearing your pain. And I kept saying, this isn't you. This isn't you. This isn't you. And this is what I meant. This is you. And we're all getting to see it. And you are helping so many women by showing that you're not weak when you show emotion. You are actually the strongest.
Okay to be accountable, ladies. Like, seriously, I want you to know that. Like, it was very hard at first.
Yeah.
Crazy because I was ready to be accountable anyway. But to be like fully accountable for every decision that you make in this life, it's not about, blaming yourself. It's just more of understanding your role and what you do in your life and taking full control of your life. Absolutely. Just, agreeing with what you said, definitely. It wasn't easy, but I want you ladies to know it's not about being weak. It's not. It's just about submitting, not just to men, but to yourself, to life.
The process.
And for those that are religious to God, I'm spiritual. I'm not really, religious, but I'm spiritual. And I've submitted to God. I've submitted to myself. I've submitted to life. And I just let it take its course. And I just let it do what it's supposed to do. And I take my lessons in stride. And I want you to know that it's not weak to do this. It's not.
Yeah, I'm glad I did not put a lot of mascara on tonight. Okay. I absolutely love it. Anybody else? Jazz says, thank you, Janice. So inspirational and gives me so much hope. We are a community. We are better together. Divided, we fall. So I love this. Make sure you go back and read the comments, okay? They take like 24 hours to show up. So if you close your thing, you won't see them for 24 hours. But if you have it open, you can look at them. But there's a lot of really positive comments for you. Anyone else have anything they would like to add?
Yeah, that was very powerful, Janice, and I'm definitely happy to hear about that testimony. I also appreciate this space for opening up the conversation to different perspectives, not just between men and women, but between men and men and between women and women, and allowing everyone to observe those things. One thing that stuck with me, even as I entered into the live based on the actual topic, was the power of discernment. It's something that I've really practiced over the years. And I've settled on, we're not required to accept anything and everything. The power of rejection lends itself to the power of self-love. So when it's something that you know is incorrect or that is detrimental or harmful, it is okay to reject it. I appreciate, Yonci, your ability to elevate the conversation to a more global discussion. when we're talking about these things to look at root cause analysis. My background is 100% rooted in that, understanding what it is that actually caused this scenario or caused this situation that we can extrapolate to something bigger and apply later on. But when you hear nonsense and you're hearing irrational behavior, it is okay to reject that. You don't have to spend cycles figuring out what it means for your life. It might just be someone who is in a place where they need to grow from that place. But it's also an opportunity for us to learn. I think you have provided everyone that's been on the live with the scenarios that they can teach themselves or use as lessons and apply it to their actual scenarios. But outside of that, use your discernment. It is powerful and it is in your benefit.
Absolutely love that. Co-sign every word. If you look at my comments on Instagram, you're going to see me use that term a lot. A lot of men will point the fingers at women, and I come back with, you need discernment. And a lot of women will point fingers at men, and I say, you need discernment. Because discernment would have said, you shouldn't have kids with her. Discernment would have said, don't marry that guy. And so 100% agree. We have to discern. We have to have our own baseline of what's right and wrong and walk away. Walk away. You can stay in your character. I'm not going to cuss you out. You're not going to catch me throwing hands. And now if I get threatened, I'm going to throw hands. But I'm not going to allow someone to take me out of my character. But I sure as heck am getting out of their radius, and they're going to get out of mine. They ain't going to come back in a second time. So I love that. The Bible says, be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. And so we can be very wise. You don't have to sit there and put yourself in harm's way. The other thing that the Bible does say is, don't cast your pearls before swine. If you guys came onto my live and y'all were talking trash, basically throwing proverbial trash onto the stage, I would not sit here for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sharing what's very precious to me that I think is very valuable wisdom that I've gotten from the Bible. So it is definitely something that I agree with. You should use discernment. Don't be this sweet, loving person that just gets abused and used up. Okay? Does anyone else have something? I'm telling y'all, just dropping gems left and right, diamonds and rubies over here under my feet. Anyone else? I have it set to only the people on the screen with their cameras on are on camera because it's just distracting with the blank screen. So it's hard to see who the other 4 people are. But if you're not speaking, then I'm going to assume there's nothing else. All right, guys. So very quickly, 30 seconds. Let me just blurt these out. Remember, buy the book. If you're interested, ladies, you want to know about what men think about first impressions, it's all the cheat code. Men, get your book if you want to know what drives a woman crazy, how to increase your masculine energy. Thursday nights, we do Bible studies if you want to learn about the spirit realm. I dragged Janice in there. I tricked her. Now she's hooked. So it's really good. I do one-on-one coaching. If you guys want to do coaching, I do marital counseling. It's no lie, it's my favorite. I love seeing people come together and reunite through love. And I'm going to be, like I said, doing group coaching very soon once I figure out the logistics. Friday night, if you're single, again, y'all just ignored me when I asked how many of y'all are single. But anyway, if you are single, make sure you come in on Friday nights because I do my Friday night singles live stream on Instagram. And you get a chance to get exposure to 13,000 plus. Well, because YouTube has like however many thousand too. Okay? Of course, Friday nights are my live streams. If this is your first time coming on, this is a weekly thing. And if you're not following me on Instagram, why not? Follow there and subscribe on YouTube. Please spread the word. We spread so much toxic content. We spread a lot of funny content, but we really need to spread the healing content as well. It's not as glamorous. It's a little less sexy, but it sure as heck is needed. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I will stick around for about 2 minutes in the chat to make sure that I can say hi to everybody. But thank you so much for watching. And until next time, be sure to tell someone that you love them. I hope it's super apparent just how much I love you.
Have a good night.
Good night.